morning. I am just checking to see that I am live on my Facebook page. Yes, there I am. Perfect. Okay, good evening. Hello, my name is Erica. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Canada, living on the West Coast. And welcome. Tonight is Case the Catty. And you guys are kind of lucky because I would not be doing this Case the Catty tonight because I was supposed to have an overnight little birthday celebration with 3 of my girlfriends. And sadly, I'd come down with a cold at the beginning of the week. And I'm still got a little bit left. But then at the same time, my back went out. So I've been sitting here on Robaxacet for 2 days. And I'm in quite a lot of pain. And if I sit too long when I stand up, I can't really stand up. So it's just as well that I couldn't go on this trip. But I guess I can sit here and craft with you. And then hopefully I can do my Funful Friday tomorrow morning. But it was sad to have canceled that trip. I hope my friends are having a great time. Anyway, welcome. So tonight is Case the Catty. As most of you know, I come live every Thursday night at 8 p.m. And I like to do a project in any one of our current catalogs or any of our online products as well, because they provide photographs. So I can take one of those and then recreate it. So Case the Catty is all about taking a project and doing it exactly as it is in the catalog, as long as you've got all of those supplies, or you can use it as a template or as an idea and put other stamp sets with it, other designer series paper, other colors. It's whatever you want to do with it. I usually try and stick to the actual card, because I like to show the product suite. So tonight we're doing Kintsugi. Kintsugi. It's called Kintsugi Inspirations. And Kintsugi is a traditional Japanese technique for fixing broken pottery. They don't like to throw away broken pottery because a lot of it is, very valuable. And so what they do is they put the pieces together using gold lacquer, and it becomes a unique piece. And actually, there have been a lot of reproductions of fake put together pottery with these gold veins in it. Very, very pretty. So that's what this, the artist who designed this, these products, that's what she did. She used this technique to put together a beautiful suite of products. The colors are beautiful that are put together. I'll show you all the colors, and I'll show you the card we're making, and I'm going to show you all of the products in the suite, as well as some other things that you could coordinate with it as well. So without further ado, I'm going to turn the camera down to my desk, and we will get started. Okay, here we are. So if you happen to have the annual catalog, you can turn it to pages 58 and 59. And this is where it is. Okay, I'm going to show you the live products. It's a little bit easier to see them live than in here. But there's basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different products that make up the whole suite. There's the stamp set, the dies. There's a fun embossing folder. There's some really sweet little gold accents. They're called flower accents. And then there's this fabulous paper. And the paper, there's a sheet of paper with lots of pots and vases and a flower that you can use the dies to cut out with. So that's really, really a cool thing. You've heard me talk about that before if you follow me, where a lot of our papers, they design the paper and then they create a die to cut out the pieces. And when you're working with it, for me, the first time I'm working with it, I like to then cut out a whole bunch so that I have them ready to use on other projects. So tonight I've cut out a few just to show you. And then of course, tomorrow, I will probably use that time to cut out a whole bunch more so that they're ready to go. It's really fun to have products ready to go when you want to make a quick card. So I see Christine has joined me. Thank you, Christine. Yes, I can't remember what happened on Monday, but yeah, Monday wasn't a good day. I don't remember what happened. I either had an appointment or I've gone totally blank. My mind has not been, you know, what it usually is. So sorry about that. Okay, so let's start with, I'll just close. Oh, I'll show you the card that I want to reproduce. It's this one here. I think this is kind of interesting, and I've been trying to figure out this rectangle here, how that was made. We used to have rectangle dies that had stitched edging to them, but they're retired now. So they typically, in a catalog, they don't use any retired products. And I'm trying to figure out how they cut out this frame, but I have another idea for it, and some other suggestions for you to get this kind of framed look for it. But we're going to be using the embossing folder, and we're going to be using some other die cuts that are in the set. Okay, so first thing I want to show you here is the stamp set. So because the dies will cut out, I'll just show you this piece of paper here. So this paper shows you these absolutely stunning vases. The ones that have the gold lines through them, that is the Kintsugi technique, okay? The other ones that have an actual pattern, it's a vase with gold pattern on it, painted pattern. But the ones that have all the different lines in it, that's the Kintsugi, not that one, but yeah, anything that's got these broken lines. So it looks like shattered pottery, and then they put it together with a gold fixative of some kind. But the dies, there's 3 dies that will cut these out. You've got a die that will cut out, I'll just pull the dies forward here so you can see. So this die here, this vase, cuts out all of the vases in here. Then you've got this short little pot here that will cut out these beautiful little pots. And then there's a flower, this little flower here. It's in Lost Lagoon and Petal Pink, and you can cut that out. And then you can use that to fill, you know, your pots with some flowers. Okay, the other thing the dies have, they have the actual Kintsugi veins here. So for tonight's card, the veins in the card project are not gold, but they're crumb cake. So I've already cut those out. You'll see that. And then I've cut out, there's these 2 flourishes, and they end up looking like this. They're really, really pretty. So you've got this longer one and this shorter one. And I've just cut out 2 more, and they're going to be incorporated into our card tonight. But aren't they pretty? You can cut these out of any color that you want, of course. So this is what they look like when you cut them out. And you do need your pokey tool to poke them, the little pieces out. And then to get it out of the die, there it comes. Okay. So that one's ready to go. So I'll just set that little die apart, and then here's the other one. So I'm just going to poke till it starts to release itself. There we go. And just pull gently. Just pull gently, and it should come out. You may have to poke it a few more places. There it goes. And just remember, when you use dies like this, you want to make sure, you see how the paper is stuck inside the die here? You want to make sure you clear all of those out before you use the die again. Otherwise, if you leave the paper stuck in there, you won't get a really clean cut next time, and you'll really be struggling with getting the die off the paper, or getting the paper out of the die. So just make sure that you give it a good clean before you use it again. Okay, so here's that other piece, and there may be a few stray pieces that you need to take out. There you go. Kind of makes a mess, but crafting as a whole is kind of messy, isn't it? All right, so let's just get rid of this in my bin under my table. Oh, I shouldn't have bent over like that. That was a little, oh, sorry, that was a little painful. Yeah, I've been on Robaxacet for 2 days. Not very pleasant. Okay, so here we go. So when I have paper like this and I want to cut out or die cut, I first, you know, this whole piece obviously is not going to fit in your die cut machine. So I just usually cut it into strips. I just weave my way around the images and then just cut them in. Now I'll cut this probably into 3 strips. And then I can put, and you can put 3 dies on at a time. You can put the die on for the flower, the tall vase, and the short vase, run it through, and then do the others. So you can get 3 cuts at one time. Okay, so on the back of that paper, I should show that. It's kind of a fish scale pattern, like a mosaic pattern on the back. I don't know if the camera's picking that up, but that's the reverse of that. And then I'm going to show you the other patterns. The other nice thing about these dies is there is a really fun kind of like washi tape sort of a piece die that is good for your greetings. Or you could just cut out a bunch of pattern paper and create a washi tape pattern on your card. Okay, now, so this is the stamp set. So you can, of course, do your own kintsugi. Well, not kintsugi, but what am I trying to say? You can stamp this vase. You could stamp it in Versamark, and then you can put gold embossing powder on it and then color it later. Or you would use alcohol. What am I trying to say? Alcohol markers do not play very well with gold embossing, is what I'm trying to say. You have to stay away from the gold embossing. Otherwise, it kind of takes away the shine. So what I suggest, to say you wanted this to be a white vase, then you would use your Versamark, put your gold embossing powder on it and emboss it and leave it white. If you wanted this vase to say be a pink, then actually cut it out of pink paper. So you'll take a piece of pink paper, you'll stamp it again in Versamark, put your gold powder on it, and then the base is pink. You could do blue, you could do green, you could do any color that you wanted, okay? Same thing for this little bowl. You can do that. And then this flower, you can stamp that. And when you're doing flowers like this, if you don't want the boldness of black, then I always suggest doing smoky slate, or you could do a very pale color like crumb cake. You could use crumb cake, but I like smoky slate for doing flowers. And then it's a little bit more muted, and then you can color it in. And then you've got some of these kintsugi patterns that you could stamp these again in embossing powder and heat them up in gold. Or you could do silver, but typically they do gold in this Japanese art. And then they've given you a little flower filigree here to do something with. And then there are some inspirational messages. Thanks for helping me through this difficult time. You inspire me. There is beauty in your history. I know you'll get through this and be stronger for it. And I'm here for you. I like this. There is beauty in your history for a birthday. You know, every time you have a birthday, you've created another year of your history. So that would go good with a birthday greeting. Yeah, very, very pretty stamp set. Okay. And then it comes with these little gold flower accents. Those are very pretty. And any of the other, if you look through our catalog and you get to the embellishment page, you can find lots of other embellishments that you can, rhinestones or sequins that you could use on this. Here's the rest of the papers. They're just really beautiful. So look at this. This is here are your colors, okay? The colors in the papers are basic beige, okay? Then there is one of our new in colors, cloud cover. That's in here as well. Then you've got Lost Lagoon. And then there is also Misty Moonlight. So this paper here, this is actually Misty Moonlight. And look how well these colors go together. When you put these 3 together, they're just beautiful. And then there is some Old Olive as well. And of course, Petal Pink. Okay, so these are all the colors that are in the papers. Just to show you, I'm not sure how much inking we're doing tonight. I don't think we're doing any inking except for the greeting. All right, so there's this paper, and you get 2 sheets of each. And this is it's a replica of the flowers in the stamp set, and this is in your petal pink. Then you've got this beautiful piece here that's got a mixture of kintsugi, the veins, the gold veins, plus they've got some little leaves on there. And then this is your this is your Misty Moonlight pattern on the back. This is really pretty. I love this. It's Misty Moonlight on white, and then it's got the gold filigree on the top. Look how pretty that is. So pretty. On the other side, again, is more petal pink. Beautiful floral pattern. Then look at this one. I love this one. Oh my gosh, that is so pretty. Would make a great blouse, I think. So you've got a little bit of pottery, broken pottery that, you know, broken pieces of floral pottery. You've got floral pottery over here, and then more here, and then just the solid colors. But look how beautiful the colors go together. I mean, look at the old olive just goes so well with those colors. Then the back of this is your cloud cover color on here. Okay, and this is a directional piece, so be careful when you're cutting. Then you've got this white with all the gold veins on there. That's absolutely stunning. And then this piece is a swirly pattern in your Misty Moonlight. Now, I think I need this piece. So when we do a deep dive into the card, let me pull the card forward so you can see. And I'm going to pull my camera down so you can see it. This is the card here. I need some more light here. Okay, I'm going to lift it up so you can see it. So they embossed the card with the embossing folder. So I've already done that. So this is my card base. Somewhere here. I know it's here somewhere. There it is. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to show you. This is the embossing folder. I'm not sure if the camera can pick that up. You can see the pattern in there. It's really, really pretty. So it's got the veins running through it. And how I did that was this is the embossing folder here. It's a 3D embossing folder. Okay, look at that. So pretty. Lots of different patterns in there. I'm going to lift my camera up a bit more now. Okay, so how I put this, I mean, when you're doing a card front, you're going against the common rule is that when you have your embossing folder, you've got this fold at the top, and you want to run that through your machine fold first. You never want to run it with the open end first, because it could push this top back and then break it. So you typically want to run it through with the fold at the top like that, okay? But when you have to emboss a front of a card, you can't do that because the card sticks out. Now, you could wrap it, but it's going to cause it to be a little more thick, and your machine may not like that, it being more thick, and it could, you know, kind of bend your spine of your card. So what I do is I cheat, of course, and I put it in like this. Okay, I line it up at the seam. Doesn't want to go back in now because it's already patterned, but I put it in like this, then I run it through the machine. So now I'm not running it through the machine with the fold at the top, I'm running it at the side, but I'm very careful and very slowly, and I hold it down before it goes under the rollers, and I push it through. And so far so good. I haven't had any issues over the years doing that, but that's how you would emboss the front of that card. Okay. So now that I've explained that, I should have brought some water, but I didn't. Okay, so this frame here, I was trying to figure out how they did this frame. Okay, and when I looked really closely, it looks like it's this paper. I can see the swirls in the frame. Okay. And although it seems to be a lighter color than this, but I think that's just, you know, when they take photos, you don't necessarily get a true color. And there is no other sheet that's similar to this. So I'm going to do it out of this anyway. And we don't have these dies anymore. So we do have rectangle dies that are the stitched dies. So you could do these. So you would pick out 2 of them to create the frame. Okay. And the other option with a new set is the gallery. I think it's called the Beautiful Gallery Suite. It has this really cool frame die here. I did a Case the Catty of a card for this suite. And when you cut that die out, you get these 3 pieces like that, you see? So you end up with these 3 pieces you can use. You end up with 2 frames. You get this frame and then you get a larger frame. So I thought I would use this die and cut it out of this paper to put on the front of the card, okay? So I'm going to cut, and I just want to see how wide this die is. I think it's probably, yes, under 4 inches. So I always cut my designer series paper into 4-inch strips because that's a typical layer. Okay, so I'm going to cut this at 4 inches. Okay, 4. And my next dimension is 5 1/4 because that's just typically a layer. Okay, so now I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to run it with this die. So I'm going to end up, oh, actually I should have cut it larger. My mistake. I made a boo-boo there. Okay, so that'll be a layer for a card. Sorry, I cut that too short. So I'll just cut it out of this remaining piece here. Okay, I'm going to cut this out. Okay, so just bear with me while I cut this out. And again, I'm angling the die. I'm not making it horizontal to the rollers. I've angled it so that it hits a corner first. Okay. So I now get this piece, and then I get, still have to poke it, I think. So there, that's the piece I want. Then I have this extra piece. I could do something else with that. Okay, so that's a really, really cool frame die. With all my videos, I include a link to a shopping cart that lists all the products so that you'll see what I've used in the project. So that'll be listed in there. All right, so let's bring back our card base, which is this, and then this is going to go on top. Okay. So it's not the same height. And I'm going to move it over just a tad. I'm kind of just centering it on there. Okay. It's not exactly as what you see in the picture, but I'm improvising here. And that's what casing the Catty is all about. If you don't have something that's going to work as per the photo, then you need to do something different. Okay, so now I can freely glue this on. So I'm just going to grab my Tombow. And I'm going to glue this on. And I'm not gluing it on any of the edges, well, especially the inside edges, because I want to be able to fit in those crumb cake veins. So let's just get this lined up on here. Okay, so that's done. Now I've cut these veins out. It just needed the two veins. So one of them is a really long vein. Look how cool these are though. They're really cool. Okay, and this one is acting like a branch. So I'm going to, I think I'm going to put it on top. So I'm going to glue that. Now that's going to be a fun little challenge to glue. I'm going to pull out one of my techniques. And we're going to put one here. And then we're going to be gluing on these pieces here. Okay. So I'm going to show you, I showed this once before. This is a silicone basting brush. I got this idea. I saw Patty Bennett. She's a very popular demonstrator out of the States. And this is where I saw this idea from. But a basting brush, these bristles were a lot longer, and I cut them shorter because you don't want them to be bendy, too bendy. So what you do is you take your pieces and turn them upside down. Then you squirt some glue on here. Make sure you use your silicone mat. Then you pounce this brush in here. Now you don't want a lot of glue. Okay, and you're going to pounce the brush just on top of your piece. So I'm going to take this piece, and this is going to go down here. And I like to put a spare piece of paper on top just so I can hold it down. I'm out off camera here a little bit. Let's move this up and see what I'm doing. So I'm just rubbing that on there. Okay. Okay, and now I'm going to do this piece. So you're just pouncing it on top. You want to be careful that the piece you're pouncing on doesn't move on top of a glued area, because then you've got glue on the top. Okay, we want this to go up here like this. Hi, Lena. All right. Now I'm going to do the same with these pieces here. I'm going to put this little one. These pieces actually have more room to put glue on, so I might pull in my other glue. So this one's going to kind of go here. I'm going to pull in my tweezers, and I'm going to hold that, and I'm going to pull in my, I've got this skinny bottle. It's got a really fine tip on it. Let me just get it going here. So you may have other methods that you use for gluing intricate die cuts. This one's going to go on here like this. Whoops. I didn't mean for that to pop up. Luckily, the glue dries clear, so we won't see that in there. Okay, and then I've got one that's going up here. Okay, so I'm going to hold this again and put more glue on here. You don't have to glue every single little piece. Okay, and this is going to go on here like this. Okay, coming together. All right, now we just have to do the greeting. It looks like the greeting is just on, they're using gold embossing powder. So they're using this, thanks for helping me through this difficult time. Okay, so I love when they have mixed fonts on. And I need my embossing buddy. And I need my Versamark. And I need my gold embossing powder. And I need my spoon. Okay, so we're going to do this on a piece of Misty Moonlight. So I'm going to do it just in this corner, and then I can cut it out with my mini trimmer. Let me just grab a block. Here we go. And don't forget your embossing buddy. Okay, and then I'll just put that in the corner. Like that. And then let's put some powder on. There we go. And then pull out my heat tool. Just waiting for that to heat up. Okay. Now, when I emboss, I like to wait for it to cool down so that the embossing powder hardens. Let me just put these two things away. So I'm just going to cut this out. Now, you could use we have these beautiful dies, fantastic dies called Stylish Shapes, and they have stitch squares and circles. So you could use one of those. Okay, and I think I need to recap my embossing powder so I don't spill it. I speak from experience. Let's bring our card back. Okay, and we're going to put this up on dimensionals, I think. Let me just find, I have a sheet of bigger ones somewhere. Here we go. So I hope you have been enjoying some new products from the catalog. We've got more products coming out in July. They're available for pre-order. If you're a demonstrator, you get to pre-order products early. I've got a couple of things in my cart. Okay, and we're going to put this more or less here. Okay, now this card in the catalog, it does not have any embellishments on it, but I'm going to add a couple. I think it's feeling a little dull looking, and I think it's because I can't figure out how this was done. And it sure looks like the swirly paper, but it's a lot lighter than the Misty Moonlight card base, so I'm not quite sure how they did that. But we've got these lovely little swirly dots. My goodness, how do things disappear? Oh, here they are so quickly. So I might just put a couple on here. Let's grab my pokey tool. Actually, I can use my putty end here. And I think I'll take one of these larger ones. I'll put that down here. And then I'll put one here. And I'll put one up here. There, kind of makes it pop a little bit more. What do you think? I like that. Okay, so there you go. There is our case card. Now for the inside, I'm going to do a white 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of white card. And I'm going to grab a piece of this and I'm going to make a border on here. So I'm just going to trim off 1/2 inch. I always like to add a little something from the front to the inside. Okay, now this I'll have to wash because it's really gluey. So let's just pull in another silicone mat. I always have more than one on hand. There's some more sticky on there. I love how the glue just rolls off the mat. Okay, and let's just put some glue on here. Let's put that on like that. And then we can put this on the inside. Now, what would be really pretty is I could take these dies and cut them out of some Misty Moonlight and put them on the inside if I wanted to, just to add some something. So I think I might do that. I've got a piece of Misty Moonlight here. Let me just take out these little extra bits here. There we go. So let's do, we'll just do a little bit in the corner down here. Here we go. You could put some of these on your envelope too, if you wanted. So let me just grab my tweezers. I like to use my tweezers. And then let's put some glue on here. Just throw this down in the bottom here. Okay, just adds a little something. We'll get rid of these little bits. And then we'll glue this to the inside of our card. And that will be it. So it just adds a little visual interest on the inside of your card. There you go. Okay, there's your card for tonight. I hope you enjoyed tonight's Case the Catty. And I hope you enjoyed this Kintsugi. You can look it up, Google it. And you could even Google some pictures of Kintsugi. See what they've done with Kintsugi technique. It's kind of a little bit like mosaics, but when you do mosaics, it's on a flat surface, right? But this Kintsugi, they're trying to reconstruct. I don't know how they hold the pieces together. I need to research it a little bit more, but you know, it's like, have you seen those new 3D puzzles? So it's a puzzle, but it's a 3D, like it could be a vase. It's a 3D thing. I think there's even houses that you can put together with puzzles. I don't know how that's even attempted. But yeah, I've seen that too. So thank you so much for joining me. Have a great weekend. And I will be back tomorrow for a Fun Fold Friday. I have an interesting Fun Fold for tomorrow morning. So thanks, ladies. And enjoy your crafting. Bye for now.